Hello and welcome to lesson number 16, and in today's lesson I'm going to talk through the International Organization for Standardization, particularly ISO 9001, which was recently updated and revised in 2015. So the objectives of this lesson is to discuss what ISO or ISO 9001 is and how it works, the reason for this quality standard. I'll discuss some of the quality management principles as well as the certification process involved in ISO accreditation. So just a little bit of background on what ISO is, or the International Organization for Standardization. It's a non-governmental organization which began in 1947 when delegates from 25 countries around the world met in London. They wanted to create a new international organization for the purposes of having an international accreditation body for the coordination and unification of international standards. ISO has since published over 19,500 international standards covering every aspect of technology, manufacturing and services. ISO 9001 was established for quality management systems, or QMS. Certification must be reviewed annually and must be renewed every 3 years. ISO 9001 certification ensures that the company meets customer requirements and exceeds their expectations. So it's an effective and efficient system in place if you're ISO accredited. So how does ISO 9001 work? It identifies what requirements you must meet. So within the standards, it talks about what requirements are necessary in order to get accreditation. It does not identify how you meet these requirements. So it isn't a list of to-dos or must-haves. It's just a general requirement that you can follow in your own manner. Every quality management system is different and unique depending on the company. So the approach to ISO accreditation is different for every company. It does allow for flexibility, and it allows management to take the seat with respect to driving the quality system within the company. So it is quite open with respect to how you gain certification. So the reasons for obtaining the ISO 9001 standards are as follows. An effective quality management system firstly can be implemented in a company without being approved to a quality system standard or to ISO. But in addition to providing information and guidance on how an effective quality management system should operate, approval to a recognized standard like ISO has significant commercial benefits, and these include things like it provides evidence to customers that the QMS or the quality management system has been independently assessed as being effective. And this is increasingly important as a marketing edge over competitors. Standardization or quality system standard avoids duplication of customer assessments. So most customers will accept ISO 9001 approval, except for a few specialized areas. Independent approval saves time and money for both the customer and the supplier. The companies can then concentrate on specific requirements for particular contracts or orders. It also provides evidence of a responsible attitude to quality within the company. ISO 9001 represents the basis for most companies' quality development by providing a framework for future quality improvements. Many companies have become more and more concerned with the potentially very damaging implications of product liability litigation. The enormous cost of industrial health and safety tragedies has led insurance agents to ask or to seek assurance in the way in which client companies manage their product quality. So ISO 9001 systems are seen to provide documented evidence of conformance to contractual specifications, and therefore lawyers and insurers have increasingly pressed for clients working in safety critical areas to be ISO 9001 approved. On a personal level, individual employees are seeing a great number of benefits in working for ISO 9001 organizations, and these include the availability of well-defined methods and procedures which help with the induction of new employees. So this slide, I've just detailed out some of the ISO regulations or some of the areas that are of interest. The one we're going to speak about a little bit further is the ISO 9001 accreditation, which is related to quality management systems. This is the link to the ISO website, and it's very easy to navigate through, but I've just linked into this document here, which is a discussion around the most recent updates of the ISO standards and the reasons behind and what the changes are. So the previous change would have been back in 2008, and again, if you click on this link, it'll bring you into the old revision of that document. So the other standards listed here are this one, 2015, is a detailed explanation of the quality management system principles. So it goes hand in hand with the one above it. They're used together. The ISO 9004 document is in relation to achieving and sustaining quality management system within your company. The next one is the guidance for auditing, followed by environmental management system. This one is specific to medical devices, and the ICH guidance document, which we would have spoken about or mentioned previously, the ICH Q10, there is a section within that on pharmaceutical quality systems. Again, I'll include these links in the supplementary material. So there are 7 quality management principles, and I want to just stay with this slide for a while and go through each of the 7 management principles which are discussed in the ISO 9001 standard. And I want to explain the ins and outs of each one of these. So the first one is the customer focus. So since the whole goal of a company is to provide products or services to customers, then it makes absolute sense that there is a focus on the customer as one of the main elements or one of the main management principles. This starts with knowing your customer and their requirements and ensuring there is communication with customers throughout the process, and measuring the satisfaction of your customer as a way of measuring if the requirements, spoken or unspoken, have been met. So obviously customer complaints needs to be tracked and documented, and if there's any follow-up or closure of those customer complaints, that the customer is kept in the loop at all times. The next one then is leadership. So leadership importance within top management, and it has been said many times that if the top level of management are not behind the implementation of any QMS, then it's bound to fail. While this may not always be a fact, it is true that the more involved the top levels of management are in the QMS, the better the chance of success and the better implemented that the end results are. If top management, who is responsible for controlling the cash flow of the organisation, can see the benefits of the system, it's much more likely to be used to its fullest advantage. The next one is engagement of people. So it's important that people throughout the organization or the manufacturing site create value, especially in an ever-growing competitive world. To ensure this, the QMS must focus on the competence of people to help them become engaged in the process and to build value into the process. By having empowered and engaged people in the organization, this can be a real driving force behind meeting the objectives of the organization. So engagement of people within the organization is very important. The process approach then, which is the 4th principle, is trying to understand, control and improve an overall system can often be complicated, which can make any efforts doomed to failure. But by looking at the overall system as smaller interrelated processes, then you can focus your efforts towards more consistent and predictable results on the individual processes of the system. Controlling and improving the individual processes can be a much easier and much more effective way to control and improve the entire system. Next one is improvement. Companies that stay stagnant in an ever more competitive market will quickly be overtaken by their competition. And in order to counteract this pressure, the company must improve in order to drive down cost and maintain market share. This allows the company to react to changes in internal or external conditions to create new opportunities. The whole idea of having a quality policy with objectives that are consistent with this policy works towards continual improvement. Objectives need to be planned and be SMART, meaning specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and time-based, and will not work without commitment to change. Evidence-based decisions. So it is said that you are more likely to get the desired result by basing decisions on analysis and evaluation of data rather than on a gut instinct of the situation. That is why there is a focus on monitoring and measuring in the ISO 9001 requirement. In order to know that a process is functioning properly, we need adequate data, and in order to plan and assess improvements, this data is even more important. Because of this, maintaining good records becomes crucial to facilitate many of the other quality management principles. And finally, relationship management. Because the interaction with interested parties such as customers, employees and suppliers can influence the performance of an organization, it is critical to manage these relationships. The focus is often on managing the relationships with the supplier network, but maintaining the relationships of all parties is important to optimize their impact on the organization and make sustained success more likely. Successful companies see these relationships as partnerships rather than strictly customer-supplier interactions. So the next slide then is a slide that looks at the overall ethos of quality management systems and how to implement a successful quality system. We call it the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, or the PDCA cycle, and really it involves 4 key steps, meaning firstly, plan what it is you're going to do. So establish objectives, and processes need to be delivered with results in line with quality management systems. The next step would be to do, so to implement the processes as part of the quality management system. The next one then is check. So check the processes against your policies, your objectives, your targets, and against your the regulations. And finally, act. So take action to continually improve in the quality management system cycle. So this slide just talks about how to get ISO 9001 certification. The process starts with obviously implementation of your quality management system within your business that's suitable for your own needs. You conduct your own internal audits, and they're reviewed by top management, who obviously drive these changes through the system and follow through on any actions that need to be taken to implement your QMS successfully. The selection of the certification body, you then decide what certification you like, and you put in a request to be audited by that particular company, who then come in and audit you with either a pass-fail. Confirmation of registration is then received after the audit, but that assumes that you will continue with improving your quality systems, striving for improvement at all times, and continually auditing to ensure that your system is working and your quality management system is operational as it should be. And that's the last slide. Thank you.